So let's start with Jeff and some words of inspiration. We need some today, but I do.
At the beginning of last month's meeting, I was found to be lying on the. When David and June came in, they went, "Oh, what is he doing? Is he all right? He's lying." The idea was that when King David wrote the 23rd Psalm and Psalm 19 as well, he would have been lying down looking at the heavens. And he said, "The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands." Well, that's what was lying there. It was nothing to it. I'm not right at all. But I won't lie there tonight.
Thank you.
But, oh, thanks, Laura.
Worry about health and safety, Jeff.
Oh, yeah, yes, of course. Yeah, it's not concerned. And I'm going to read another bit of the same psalm, Psalm 19. It's, you've got to think about this is King David, who was king, not at this time, he was just a shepherd boy, but he had the ability to write poetry. So this is like a 3,000-year-old poem, and then later on it was set to music. So another bit I'm going to read without lying down, but it could have well been lying down either. It says, "In the heavens, God has pitched a tent for the sun." In the heavens, God has pitched a tent for the sun. Another bit says, "It rises at the end of the heavens." Sorry. I'm a bit strong, isn't it? It rises at the end of the heavens and makes its way in a circuit to the other side. Now, they didn't have north, south, east and west in those days, because they probably thought, most people thought the earth was big flat. And you can understand. But David had that concept of everything that he sees in the heavens is worthwhile. God made the earth and God made the sun that goes from one side of the world to the other every day. And it also says at the end, nothing is hidden from its heat. Now, Bert's just come back from a really hot holiday in India, and we have the sun shining every day, all day. But the clouds cover it up, don't they? But it's shining, otherwise we'd be freezing. Yeah, okay. So let's pray for tonight's meeting. Heavenly Father, we thank you for Ilfracombe Town Council and for what we know of it and work in it. We thank you, Lord, that we are responsible for many things in the town. And we thank you for that responsibility that you give to each member. We do pray for our town. We know people that are prosperous and comfortably off, money-wise, but we know many people that are having a difficulty in getting by day. Lord, we pray for them. Help us when it's our opportunity to serve them, and help us to do the right thing before people in our town. We thank you, Lord, for all our friends and family in the town, and we pray, Lord, that we will be able to serve all of them. We bring out all our prayers in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Jeff. So, all right, we move on to the agenda. Item 1, to receive and agree apologies for reasons for absence.
We've had apologies from councillors Coates, councillor Newland, councillor Coulter. Oh, and Perry, thank you.
Thank you very much. To receive declarations of interest and consider members submitted dispensation. Any declarations of interest? No, very good. Item 3, Chair's discretion, any matters or announcements for information only? 1,
Possibly 3.
okay. Any more? No, you've got your own show.
Thanks.
Item 4, to determine which items, if any, of the agenda should be taken to public excluding.
I'd recommend item 9.1 as it's contractual discussion.
Okay. Anything else? No? Good. Item 5, public participation. Government, who'd like to go first? Gardner.
I'll start, right. One thing I did say, one thing I will complain about. Well, I'm always complaining anyhow.
Keeps in the
The
job.
thing is, I did say the other day, the seafront lights across the top, across the seafront was put out. The next day I went down there, they were on.
We work fast, don't we?
No. That was exceptionally good. Well,
Can't
since
take
then,
credit, sorry.
they're all off again. Nothing, if I was employing an electrician like that, I could see if any of you ladies and gentlemen in this room were saying, well, I want to look at this, I'll find somebody else, because no sooner you get it going, you turn it back, it goes off again, and it doesn't come on again. And another thing, you've got fairy lights going round, and they seem to be aware that they're not now, we're on all day. So, I'm going to say, I'm not too keen on the North Devon District Council who employs the electricians. It doesn't sound very good in that respect. And the other thing is, it's Wetherspoon again, it's the only thing is lit up, it looks nice. When I come by, I went dinner tonight, just past the Imperial Hotel, all the time. Guests in the hotel. And they got, and the Dilkirk have probably got people in as well. I think, to be more honest, the advert for this town is not good. And I would like to see, I would like this council to look at it, because you can go walk around and you say, oh, it's all, that's it. It ain't good enough. So, if the time you represent the town, let's represent the town. You're now trying to apply for a grant. This good lady who was on the radio this morning. Sworn and parties on again tomorrow. So, can you have a look at it? And then just one other small thing. Not very long ago, you went down on the pier, and you found that patches on the pier. Go back now. It's got holes in it already. It's not, it ain't good, and originally they were gonna tarmac the whole pier. But the North Devon District Council didn't do that at all, they just went up and patched it up. So, Sarah, I know Sarah's very good, and she does, yes, and she does look into it. And Sarah, could I ask you again, Mother, to look into it, because it is bad, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, I will,
Thank you very much indeed.
Norman, when you refer to the potholes down the seafront, do you mean in the car parks or
Yeah,
on the roads?
Yeah, on the pier itself, when you drive on the pier, it's not very good. The surface and that is a bit.
In the car park,
Yeah, in
Okay,
where the
that's
cars
fine.
go parked up.
it's just so I know which agency
Yeah,
I'm
right.
speaking to.
Yeah, Chair, Norman, you're right about the lights. I mean, I'm not sure about this week, but last week there's 5 coaches in the town, which obviously with the. Well, where with the Imperial and Dilk possibly. So you've got all those people coming to the town and it looks like everything's closed. So I agree with you, I think something should be done about it.
Any feedback from the district councillors on why the lights are on and off and on and off?
They changed electricians, but I don't know.
Sorry, Chair, can I ask that when anyone actually notices it, rather than me waiting in time up, because when I went down, Norman, I was probably not long after they come back on. So presumably I thought that they were fine, so I didn't follow it up, but if anyone in passing does see these things, let me know before it's a month's time if you can. Then we can just kind of keep on top of, I know there's one officer at North Devon Council deals with lights. And that's pretty much theirs, so I can keep hounding them.
Thank you for that. Hanging on, anybody else like to say anything? Oh, go left.
Brilliant. I have two questions actually. The first one rewinds to a previous question that I asked, which may have been answered, and if I've missed the answer, then I apologise. But the parking situation outside Witherspoons is borderline joke. There was talk of putting the taxi rank there and making the parking around the corner available for blue badges. And now, when you come down the Crescent to the bottom, it can be, you are literally taking your life in your own hands trying to pull out. If there's a car there, it's bad enough. If there's a van there, it's ridiculous. I asked the question several months ago, I think, and I'm not sure if it ever answered or I may have missed it.
Councillor Cramp.
There's been a lot of kerfuffle for years, absolutely years and years about swapping the two over. But my understanding is that because it's the district council organised taxi ranks and the county council organised parking rates. They've had to get together and have a chat, and that's taken literally about 6 years to organise, but I understand that the agreement has now been drafted, and I don't know if there's anyone in the room that knows if the order for the paint's gone out yet, but it is actually work in progress. Where you might also be irritated, and I don't know what we can do about this is related to your thing, is the fact that the Collingwood used to have two entrances to the car park. So there's about 20 metres of drop curb. People put parking there quite legitimately because it's a single white line every day. There we go. And they're getting tickets for blocking a drop curb, despite the fact there's nothing opposite, it's drop two. But how you get over that, I got absolutely no idea. But they're down at the moment, it's a mess. But when they swap over, it should be less so.
Is big progress.
Yeah. My second question, obviously, relates more to, again, another image perspective in the town, and it relates to the 40-foot steel container that is rusting in the swimming pool car park, and whether it will be there much longer. If it is, I appreciate there may be reasons for it, but it was at one point clad, and now it's just a rusty 40-foot container in a car park.
Okay. Anybody know anything about it?
We've not had any updated information on it, so I know it was there for a reason, and it might still be required for a reason. But we just don't know. I'll speak to North Devon Council because it is their land and it's their container. So it's
deteriorating.
Yeah. Let's see if there's anything that can be done, but we just don't know at this point.
Yeah, we'll follow it up. Thanks for bringing it up.
My name's Sean, there's people who really close to me, so I'm quite happy. So I, basically for the last 2 years, I've had a number of issues with waste collections, with drains, all this kind of stuff. One of the things I found really hard was I didn't want to take social media, I didn't want to do that whole bit, I wanted to do things through the proper channels. And so I met with the room, I spoke to various people, and I just found it impossible to actually find out who was accountable for certain things. So rather than being faceless, try and actually find out who's responsible at the top end of some of these things. And didn't really get very far. So the reason for me coming tonight, and I don't apologies if I missed this, it might have been point 2 on the agenda, was really to say, look, I feel like maybe I could offer something in terms of time or whatever to the council. So I was kind of wanting to come along, try and put more positive spin on it, and say, look, I would be interested in getting involved as part of it. How would I go about the process? Also, I'd have to be realistic about my own time and how much I could actually contribute. But that was really the reason for my visit. So although this isn't, I know we have a certain amount of time, the gripes that I've got probably would exceed 3 minutes, so I don't, there probably maybe something for another time. But it's definitely things that I've noticed that have declined substantially in the last 2 years. And that could be really, really difficult to actually try and get any resolution from.
Can you give us a brief potted history?
So, yeah, so I live on, so it's up Station Road essentially, and at the back of my house is a cul-de-sac. And obviously now obviously the council introduced the green bin collections, obviously that, I think it's running at about £65 a year, something like that, which has gone up considerably each year. Certainly at the back of our road this year, I think I've had 3 missed collections, where they just haven't even entered the road. And all of the neighbours' bins have not been empty. And I've tried contacting them and I've said that, you know, if I ran a business the way that you guys run with waste collection, I wouldn't have a business because it would be criminal. And I was just told, yeah, no, we'll come back and we'll sort it, and they won't really offer anything other than they do come back several days later after you have to chase and hound. Now in the back of our road, in the cul-de-sac, there's a number of trees, and they're lovely trees. You wouldn't want them to go. However, they haven't been trimmed in well over 15 years. I've owned the property for 14 years, and 3 years ago I approached. I think it's Highways that they belong to. So I approached Highways. I said, look, these trees are getting really unmanageable. There's a lot of debris coming off these trees. They're shedding a lot of leaves. And, you know, we need to get the trimmed back. And was basically told, no, we took a decision in 2009 to not cut back any foliage unless it poses a threat or a danger to someone. So they said, if you want to cut it, you cut it yourself. And I said, well, hold on. These are on the pavement, they come out of the pavement. If I hit a car, what happens then? Who's liable for that? They said, it's on your head. So, okay, so I went and did a little bit of trimming at low level. I then contacted it, but obviously that didn't get the long one. You'd still need pretty high kit now to actually get to that, because it was really, really hard. So I spoke to Highways again, I think the following year. And then they told me a completely different thing. They said, oh, don't you cut it. There could be a TPO on the trees. So I looked it up, there's no TPOs in the trees. I then rang again and was told basically the same thing, that if I want them trimmed, it would be up to me to trim them. Now the problem is, in my street, there's a lot of elderly people. I'm one of 2 people who go out on my own time on the weekend and sweep up leaves and try and clear the street. And those leaves go in my green bin, which I now charge 65 quid a year to take. And 2 years ago, I purchased a garage, which is a sort of workshop at the end of that road. And about 3-4 months into owning it, it flooded really badly. We're talking like sort of that much water. I've got a video of me sweeping it all out. So again, I phoned Highways about the drains and said, look, these are, you can't see through them. They are literally surface level with mud. I don't know if anyone has ever come and cleared the drains out. And was basically told, yeah, we'll get someone on it. So I thought, great. Told them that the garage was flooded, and I said, look, at this moment in time, I couldn't consider it that you've done something wrong, because how do they resolve something they don't know about? But I said, as of now, I've told you that it's flooded. So I do expect it to be resolved before it does any more damage to property. So 6 months later, I think it was roughly, nothing had been done at all, and the garage flooded again, to which I got pretty cheesed off about, because I was sweeping it out at sort of 10 o'clock at night. Rang Highways up, they said, oh, we'll get an emergency team out. Are you able to stay up and wait for the team to arrive? I said, well, what time are they going to be here? He said, 1 o'clock in the morning will be the latest. So I said, fine, I've got work in the morning, but I will stay up till 1. So I stayed up till 1, no sign of them at all. Following day, a friend and neighbour who sadly passed away last year, the 2 of us with a shovel emptied out the whole drain, and we filled a green wheelie bin and a half of waste, which weighed an absolute ton. At the bottom of that drain was a crisp packet that went out of date in 2009. That told me that they hadn't been empty for probably 15 years. I'd certainly never seen it. While we were doing it, all the elderly neighbours were coming out and saying, oh, you guys are doing an amazing job. We rang the council, God knows how many times. I said, this is embarrassing, because, do you know what I mean? We're all paying for this, and this isn't trying to go around the table, this is just my frustration on it.
Yeah, that's, no, I get the gist, so we've got some county councillors here.
You know,
London.
and so there's a number of.
Sarah's not here, but,
Yeah.
let's, you know.
If you don't mind, Chair, sorry, Sean, I think the best thing at the moment is
Yeah.
rather than, because obviously that you've
There's a lot
got a
there.
lot of agencies and
Yeah.
a lot of things to kind of break down. I think the easiest thing would be is to email us.
Yeah.
You can get the email off the website, and I think my email's on there as well, so you're welcome to send it directly to me.
Yeah.
Give me a breakdown of all the things and maybe a little bit of that potted history.
Yeah.
We'll break that down and potentially speak with Neil, and we'll speak with Highways. We'll speak with North Devon Council, we'll try and go through the people that we've got as contacts, which I can't promise you anything,
No.
but we can definitely try that avenue, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of it comes down to keep reporting it,
Yeah.
but we'll see if we've got any influence, and we'll obviously speak to Devon County Councillor, who is due in a minute, just on another meeting. And whoever, if it falls under the North Devon Council, obviously I will hound the North Devon councillors who are currently sat around this table, so
Yeah.
we'll
It's
get.
good to get it in one place.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I
Totally.
say, there's a lot there, and it wasn't really to come and have a real gripe about everybody under the sun. It was more just to air frustration and say that at a time when everything is so tight, everything's going up, taxes going up, everything's, you know, from what I'm seeing, it's a really big decline. And I thought, I don't want to come here, just put that on and be part of that problem. I would rather come and sort of say that I'm prepared to give it my time, whatever I can do.
Yeah, let's see what we can do. So
Council.
Laura, run with it, and, Mr. Crowd.
Very quickly, Chair, I appreciate your very attention to it. Your bins is, as you know, is NDC, so you know that John, he's your NDC councillor, and Sarah, when she comes in, she's councillor you're in town, they will take care of that for you, they will certainly down the door for you. The trees, I was aware of that, but I would suggest the best way for trees to be dealt with is with Neil and the town team, I would think, that's screening out for that, I would have thought.
Yeah.
DCC hopefully will come with the drains, they alleged they were last looked at on the 22nd of June 2023. Not to say they were fixed, but somebody allegedly came along and looked down the hole.
This is at Richmond.
Down.
That's because I cleared. This
Well, 23 this was.
Oh, sorry, 23.
23. So, again, that, there's a thing on the Devon County thing where you can go on and report your drain.
Yeah, I think that's what I did.
So, I mean, well, thank you very much, you fixed it, but I mean, you know, if it's any danger of getting like that again, you know, don't be shy to bang it on it.
The thing that I tried to point out to them.
Oh, and as far as you're wanting to take a bit more active role, watch the space in the window downstairs, I think.
Yeah, apologies. The thing that I tried to explain to them was the fact that they're not trimming trees is a false economy because the amount they shed is unreal. There's several trees and basically you can clear the drain and it's just mulch and full of them. And they may have come and looked at them in 2023 hours, but I did speak to somebody else who was a friend of somebody else who was part of it, and he said that what would quite often happen is when they come to inspect whether this is true or not, he said if there was a vehicle parked over the drain, they'll just say it's been inspected and it won't get looked at again. Now, there's no way on earth that drain was checked in 2023 because there wouldn't have been a frisk packet embedded in the soil from 2009, and it was literally brimming. So
Yeah, it's not been empty.
so no, I'm not, that wasn't as a proposal at it, but.
Yeah, well, let's look at your specific concerns and see what we can do, so thanks for bringing that up. No? You're happy? No problem at all. Right, well, let's move on to item 6, to approve and adopt the minutes of the.
You can say to Sean, if you wanted to go, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting, if
Oh,
very well, obviously.
You might get a job.
Sarah's been helping me out with another issue.
I should be
I've
instructed.
not actually met her face to face yet, so if you can see it.
No problem. So let's approve and adopt the minutes of the last full council meeting on the 9th of February and update on any actions taken from those previous minutes. Anything on the last set of minutes? If not, I will propose to adopt them. Seconder?
Yeah.
All in favour? Anybody against? No abstentions? No, good.
Updates?
Updates, actions from the last minute.
Well, I thought I'd just highlight very quickly, about the car park loan and report number 26001, where we talked about, going for the alternative loan. We will still go there. I know there was a discussion about monitoring at FNGP, there was a discussion about monitoring interest rates on the DMO in the interim before it runs out on the 10th of March, which is tomorrow. Just to let you know, it went down on the 27th of February to 6.01, and as of today, it is now 6.34. 34? Yes, 6.34%. So it went down briefly and has shot straight back up. So I would imagine we'll stick with that decision that we made at full council last month. So okay. I'm not sure that there's anything else in there unless anyone's got any questions. I have, actually, there is one other thing, I do apologise. Part of the chair's discretion, it was discussed about a letter. I've circulated that round to everybody with regards to the TARP line. Having done a bit of public consultation through Facebook, we got a bit of input from that. We obviously had Terry's report about transport and health, and we had Sarah Wilson also sent some in, as did June. So I kind of collated all of that, and that's ready to go. So unless anyone has any glaring need to object to that letter or change it, please do let me know by email, but it'll be going out in the next few days.
Okay. Right, thank you for that. Item 7, minutes of the planning committee meeting and open approved recommendations.
Right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I present to you the minutes of the planning committee meeting held on the, sorry, I can't find it, so 26th of February. We had a very interesting meeting, as we always do, and I'd like you to note the minutes as attached.
Thank you for that, duly noted. Item 8, minutes of the staffing committee meetings and open approved recommendations held on the 16th of February. That's me. One thing that came out of that we need to agree today is the recommendation of a community officer job description, which has been circulated with it. It's good to me. I think we didn't have it last time, otherwise we would have done it last month. But, so I'm going to propose that we accept that job description. Do I get a seconder? Greg, all in favour? Any objections? Abstentions? No, good. We have a job description. Brilliant.
The advert will go out from tomorrow.
Moving on to item 9, minutes of the FNGP meeting. Note approved recommendations, 23rd of February. Councillor Burke, updates on this one.
That serves me right for not reading the minutes, wouldn't it? Well, because present the minutes, the only thing is 9.1, which is going into part B. So I present those for approval.
Yeah, so we'll note them and we'll discuss 9.1 in part B. So thanks for that, Bert. Item 10, report from our proper officer.
At some point, somebody will say that without doing it. I've obviously submitted my report. I'll run through it very briefly. As you're aware that we've had a resignation from Councillor Townsend. I've included, because I get asked this all the time, what the process is for a vacant position. So hopefully that is clear now that everybody understands what that is. But the basic process is I'll let NDC know, they'll advertise it. There'll be 10 days period where if they, sorry, not 10, 14 days, now I can't remember, 14 days, where the public can put in and ask for a by-election. We're obviously hoping that they don't, because it costs us an awful lot of money, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens. If they don't, then we'll co-opt somebody on, will put an advert out to the members of the public and give everybody the opportunity to apply for that position. So that is that. Councillor Champions, thank you very much. I'm really grateful that at least 3 out of those 4 positions people have put their hands up for, so thank you. Obviously we'll agree them in May, officially, but that's going on. The nursery at the moment, we've got this, I was going to put a report together and I haven't as yet because I'm still trying to scratch my head on how to address this. The nursery are still keen to be in Ilfracombe and they're very keen to start a nursery up. From their estates manager's position and from the email that I've now sent to Gar, there is a certain amount of work that they feel they need to do to bring the space at the Lantern up to sufficient space so they can get maximum occupancy to try and obviously make a business plan work. They're also trying to, there is discussions, and I've spoken to Councillor Wilson about this, there is discussions about a pot of funding that Devon County Council or central government have put out, which Devon County Council have got to apply for, which is for nurseries, but they are based on school nurseries and family hubs. And I don't think that they're aimed at 0 to 3s. So they're pushing to try and see if that they can get a decision made on that. So Kat Hewitt from the Family Hub is busy running with that. If they could get hold of that type of funding, that would make things a lot more feasible. But I think there's a wider discussion to be held. And this will be around the campus model that we keep talking about, whether or not looking at all of the buildings that we have, NDC have and DCC have, whether or not we don't want to fill spaces just to fill spaces, although I know we have to from a business perspective. We want to make sure that the right things are going to the right places so that they are sustainable, because there's no point putting a nursery into a space that they're either going to outgrow or potentially it's not going to work, but that could be used for somebody else that would work. So it's a much bigger discussion, but I will come back to you with a bit more information on that as when it carries on. The next part is going to be 10.1, which is about LGR and devolution and clusters. I'm hoping that you've all read the proposal comparison that DALC's done. It's a lot more informative and kind of narrows down 300 pages per proposal down to only 4 or 5 pages, and it concentrates on town and parish councils and what each of those proposals would hold for town and parish councils. We've got till the 26th of March to put in our view and our comments with regards to local government reorganisation. The consultation ends then. What I'm proposing we do is that we devolve that decision to the devolution and LGR subcommittee, who will be meeting on the 23rd of March to hash it out and to have something put together. The one bit of information that I didn't realise until just the other day was that we can actually email our views rather than actually filling in the consultation, which I hadn't really kind of clocked. So I think that's definitely going to be a better way forward. I think we need to be able to put our views across. Having been to meetings and which Terry joined and Bert joined the morning meeting on the 5th of March that DALC held, everybody's sharing the same concerns as everybody else. It's everyone's nobody knows what's happening. Everyone's worried about what's going to happen. Nobody has any inclination. Councils are not talking to each other. Councillors, district councils are not talking to town and parish councils. Devon County Council is not talking to anybody at the moment. So at the moment, it's very much just dealing with a black hole. We just don't know. So if I can get a decision that we can devolve that decision, that would be helpful. Should we do that now before I carry on?
I'll second. All in favour? Everybody again? No, good.
Okay, so that's that bit. With regards to clustering, again, it's like trying to get blood out of a stone, but I have been in touch with the councils around us. A couple of them have kind of said that they would be happy to kind of get involved. The one I'm getting no response from is Combe Martin, so I went and spoke to one of the councillors. They have a full council meeting tonight as well, so went and badgered one of the councillors that will be there tonight to try and see if I can get them just to have a conversation with me, if nothing else, just to start that going. Link Centre, I'll leave for Steve to talk about. Defibrillator, we unfortunately didn't get the funding I was hoping for, but we're going to keep looking and see if we can get something. Phone box, again, dealing with the planning department. That's fun. Grants is the next thing that I need to get a grants working group together if possible, please. So that's number 10.2. Obviously, we've had everything come in, we've prepared everything, so we just need to get a working party together to make recommendations to F&GP between now and the 23rd of March, if possible. So if I can have volunteers, I'll be very grateful. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Trevor. Anybody else? No? That'll do. Thank you. I'll be in touch and I'll get myself and Gail to set up a meeting so we can approve those. And then the last one is insurance. So I've emailed it out to you. We had a working group meeting, myself, June and Mark Newland. There's a few tweaks that we need to make. They're going to take a little bit of time. I can't see that it's likely to bring the insurance value down substantially. So where we're sitting at the moment with everything as it is, the renewal cost is going to be £15,735.86. We budgeted for 14,000, but we have had an underspend from 25-26. So that is something that we can top up that value. And vehicle insurance is within the budget at £1,200. So if I can just get that's agreed. We'll keep working with the insurance company. We need to do a lot more work. We might need to get the artwork valued. We might need to, it's been a while since we've probably done that. We need to just work out where a ride-on mower is. So if anyone has any inclination as to where that might be, because I don't know.
It was given to the allotments.
I know, I've since found out, thank you, Bert. But, you know, those are just things that we need to tidy it up a bit, so.
Don't make a claim for it.
Well, as this is now recorded, Councillor Crabb, that might not sit quite so well, and I wouldn't want to. Anyway, so if I can just get a decision to continue with that, I'd be very grateful.
Right, I would propose that we do that. Second,
Thank you, John.
all in favour? Any against? Abstentions? Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
We're insured.
Sorry, Chair, a quick question on that. Are
Yes,
we
please.
responsible for the Damon Hirst thing?
No, because that sits with North Devon Council. So yes, when we do asset transfers. No, thank you. I'd imagine the insurance on that is quite substantial.
You got.
So, please do make a note of the dates. We've got the annual town meeting on the 22nd of April. As many of you there as possible would be great. If I can get a county councillor there, I'll be very grateful as well. Police have committed to being there on that day. And obviously we've got the Mayor's Civic Service on the 19th of April. If you've not responded, please can you? So we can keep an eye on numbers.
What time is the meeting?
Probably 6 or 7, probably 7 o'clock. Yes, thank you. We'll leave that with you.
Yeah, and the civic reception, obviously, you're all invited. Right, moving on, item 11, the RFO report.
Yes, unfortunately, that's me again, because our RFO is unfortunately unwell. So I'll do my best. I don't think there's much I can kind of fill in here. You've got the accounting status as per the combined papers. I don't know if anyone has any questions on with regards to that as it stands. No. Then I'll move directly on to 11.2, which is to review and agree the invoices for payment as they are as per. There's no addendum because obviously I don't deal with any extras that come in. So as long as everyone is happy, or if anyone has any questions.
I propose we pay the invoices then. Second, John, all in favour? Right, extensions, no. Good.
And then the last one, which is 11.3, which is a verbal report with regards to a virtual cardnet system. I'm going to defer that through to next meeting, not just because Carol's not here, but I think there's a couple of different options I'd like her to investigate. I know she's asked, if council, can agree to proceed with checking accurate fees and things. It's basically so we can kind of bring everything up so that we can take payments over the phone if we needed to. We can have a potential online booking system. A lot of this will be a longer term investment, which will hopefully then just cut down on officer time as well and make things a bit more streamlined. But we will bring you back a report with the actual figures and some information
Right,
for next
so we don't need to
council.
vote on it, just.
No, just to know,
it's
I'll
ongoing.
defer it, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Carol.
It's a pleasure. Or
Right.
Sarah.
And Sarah, yeah. Item 12, programme manager report, please.
Super team has been working extremely hard as per normal. My main focus has again been on the Lead Centre. So, discussions still continue at the moment. We've got a meeting on the 18th of March with their estates team to discuss the potential of a transfer and how that might look. We've been in to see the building and then we've started the process of getting quotes for the remedial works and bits and pieces. Some of it.
Sorry, we could only make it last minute on Friday, so it was all a bit rushed, so I do apologise. I'm sorry. I have a lot to think about and I forgot to call you.
Not like you, Gavin. Well, no, in which case then we'll be getting me a view then, won't we?
We've got the keys.
We can
Okay.
get access another time. It was just on that occasion, it was all very last minute, so apologies.
So, yeah, so we've had a good look through. Some bits are worse than actually what we thought they would be, and some bits are better than what we thought. I think the problem is there's a lot of damp in the building and the windows are shot. And so it's difficult really, but we've started the process of getting the quotes, so we'll see what they come back with. We've tasked them to get the quotes to be on a scale, so what's urgent and what's not, and so we can get some reality into the costings rather than the 180,000 that it's supposed to be. So that's happening. I've had a meeting with the Freedom Centre in Barnstaple about potentially bringing services that they do into Ilfracombe. They're very keen to do something. They don't want to step on anybody's toes, but they do want to have some sort of cross working. So I'm speaking to them again, but realistically, we probably need to get the main parties around the table at Bell's Place and the food bank there as well. Who's the other people there? So I can't think of the name. Mark.
Oh,
No,
Salvation Army.
That's it, Salvation Army. Yeah, so they also need to be part of it. Moving on, there one or two board meeting happened in terms of agreeing the themes. So we've now got 5 themes. At the next full council, I'm going to present this all to everybody. Those themes are been put together with all the work that's going on in this with our team, but also all the stuff that's happening with Devon County Council, North Devon Council, all the other teams. So it brings together all of that work into nice groups and stuff. So it was a very positive meeting, and I think that we've got some really good outcomes. So at the next meeting, I'll present this to you in a better way so people can see what's going on and stuff. Just to emphasise, it doesn't make my team have more work. What it does do is it gives us a picture of what everything that's going on in the town and how we can hopefully influence some of this. And these projects are supposed to be there to change the dial, which is on the deprivation statistics and all the other bits and pieces. So that these should be very hard hitting projects. Primary care network contract that's still going on. It's dragging on. I don't think that the team will move into Coombe Coastal. I just get the feeling it's been going on for 6 months now, and I can't really see anything changing. So they stay where they are. And as I've heard, we are seeing a lot more funding opportunities. I don't know whether Charmaine, you want to talk about the funding you've got in and the stuff you're doing.
Yeah, so you might have seen on socials, we applied to the National Lottery for our youth club and they gave us £20,000, which is very nice of them. We've also got some additional funding that's come through Councillor Wilson, and additionally through Devon County Council's places to go, things to do part. So this is going to allow us to work with Keris, who worked for Space, which was Devon Youth Services. She left Space to go travelling over winter, but wanted to come back and volunteer in Ilfracombe. But it was going to be a bit tricky for her to do that without having any sort of income. So we're looking for a part-time job, and I'm just like, let's just apply for funding. So we managed to get the funding, so we'll have Keris working as the lead on that, which is lovely for me because it means that I don't have to do it. We also have money in there to pay for things like room hire, refreshments, tying in with the Ilfracombe Cultural Plan. We'll be bringing in local kind of artists and performers and practitioners to kind of do a bit of a bolt on. So it's not just going to be a youth club, there'll also be the opportunity to learn, especially kind of creative industries. So yeah, we've got a youth day that's on the Saturday, the 11th of April, where there's lots of tasters, for young people to come along and meet the team that are involved with all of that. And then we start from the 6th of May, every Wednesday night at the Vision Centre.
And it's spring clean this week as well. And apparently we're spring cleaning tomorrow morning.
Wednesday morning.
Oh yeah, Wednesday. That's it. Any questions?
I got mine early.
Yeah.
I did my, that's really.
I'd say brilliant, and well done, Charmaine, for your hard work on it. Can I just point out something in the report, which was in Neil's report, where just a comment where he says about the spring clean
Yeah.
and the public response and sign up has been virtually non-existent. And just comment that I think the way that people participate now is through In Bloom, and they have had really good public response joining in. So I think going forward, that's the way to do it, isn't it, with the In Bloom being a funnel for public.
In fairness, we have definitely pushed it more in that direction this year for exactly that reason. We've tried endlessly for years to try and get the spring clean, and nobody ever does. But yes, we have kind of gone using the momentum of Ilfracombe In Bloom at the moment and kind of pushed that they're doing it. Although we have had one complaint about what colour paint is being used. So
It's like black.
yes. But there is a very good reason for it, is because if there was any street furniture that was to be replaced, it would be replaced in black. Therefore, painting everything blue would be inconsistent with any new replacements. So yes, yeah, I know. So that is the reasoning behind it. It wasn't just a random decision to paint it black, and it's not due to cost, because I know that was another thing. It is just due to the fact that if, for instance, a bin is replaced, it's replaced in black. If a bollard is replaced, the chances are it's replaced in black. If a bench is replaced, it's going to be black. So to paint everything a different colour would just be, yeah. It's like, well, I don't know about silly, but anyway, that is the reasoning. It's easy to get out of.
So everything, Steve?
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Right, item 13 on the agenda, to receive proposals and reports from Ilfracombe Town Councillors, which we have two, I believe, Councillor Elliott.
Sorry. Yeah, so the report into access to healthcare is actually done as part of the League of Friends, but I thought it's important to share it with town councillors because of the push by Ian Room and our own recognition of poor transport links and its impact. Only last week, the 301 was not running from Coombe into Ilfracombe because there was another road closure. I just don't think most people who drive a car understand how difficult it is to access healthcare further away when you don't have a car. It's not only that the bus service isn't adequate, for example, the 301 doesn't run on a Sunday, it's also that it's very unreliable at the moment. And I noticed in Laura's letter to Ian Room that when the train line was down, several people were commented that they couldn't get to their healthcare appointments. So it's something when there's consideration of health inequalities, and the removal of services like the minor injuries or the link centre, there's not enough consideration given to how difficult it is to access services further away. So this has been sent to the ICB as well. And I believe I've been in touch with Andrea Beecham because a while ago, I don't know if you remember, we had someone here doing a project. I think she was funded by Community Foundation. She was here for about 18 months working on access to healthcare. And I said to Andrea, what happened to the report? And nobody quite knows. So there is money sometimes spent. Do you remember how she
Is that
been
called 20+?
yeah. So
Yeah.
what happened to the coach?
I don't know, I think the Compass might have them, because I think she worked for the Compass.
Yeah.
So-
But it should have been fed back in to one Ilfracombe, to one Devon, to the ICB, because it's all informing how they make decisions about what services go where, but it seemed to go into nowhere. So, yeah, you've seen Ian Roos' response as well, so I think we should keep up the momentum around transport. And whatever it says about healthcare would be the same with work, would be the same with access to education now that Petrock is now North Devon College and partners with Exeter. There are a lot of students now that are going to Exeter to study. Yeah.
Thank you, for that really good report, and I'd like to pass it on to, Councillor Cottle Hunkin at DCC. That's all right, because that's her remit as community zone. Well, she's got a massive remit, but communities and public transport is a part of it. So I think she'd be.
I'm happy to copy her in on that letter that we're sending to Ian Room as well, the list. Okay.
And, like Mr. Crab.
Perhaps Councillor Ray would like to propose that, if you notice the recommendations on the end of it, perhaps like to propose that becomes the ambition of the town council or some such.
Good.
There's nothing particularly controversial in it, so I don't think why we don't
No,
support these.
reasonable, yeah.
I expect someone will second that, perhaps me, but otherwise anyone else will stick around that.
Right.
Happy days, there you go.
Yeah.
All those in favour say aye.
Right,
That's your job.
done,
That's good volunteering.
we are engaged. Do you want to mention the youth generation?
Yeah, just briefly, I went to an online seminar about engaging the next generation of councillors, so I passed that on to Sylvia, who's doing work on engagement. And it was very interesting what other councillors are doing to try and both encourage younger people who are thinking about maybe becoming a councillor, but also about making sure that we try and engage the views of younger people, because lots of decisions we make affect them. So there are three examples on there, but since then I've spoken to Charmaine and to somebody who's involved in the youth club and the youth council in Barnstable, and Laura's also spoken to them, so possibly coming to give a talk maybe.
Yeah, we've got a meeting set up in 24th of March with Rosie, so yeah, once that's done, we'll hopefully she might go and do a presentation.
That'd be good.
Just so we get an idea. I think it's good to learn from those that have got success on something like youth council, so that we don't decide to try and do it and then fail miserably.
Fair enough.
Learn.
Thank you for that. Any other town councillors got a report or a comment? No.
No, town councillors, no, carry on.
No,
Sorry.
I'm getting to that.
Yeah, no, I've just realised.
Item 14,
Yeah.
receive reports from county and district council.
Gave you mine on the thing, which was fantastically talkative, I suppose. Lovely, there we are, right,
I did print a few.
yeah, LGR still dominates narrative. June and I have to sit at any discussions, anything to do with whom. The budget's been agreed this year at 2.99% increase, and I can say we're looking at next year's agendas because it'll be 2.99% next year as well, possibly the year after that. The public space protection has been extended in time. Minor works has been a commence on the post office building. RGP are slightly irritated that they weren't invited to tender for the main project, but that's super secret, so we can't discuss that. And I'm also talking with Malcolm Prowse about some housing scheme ideas, and you'll be pleased to know that it's National Empty Homes Week. So the North Devon Council are falling over themselves with a number of initiatives to help anybody that owns property that's currently empty, boarded up, or not being used properly. They will help you out in any way, and there is a list of ways that they will help you. So if you know anyone that's a useless landlord or got property that they're not using, they can be helped into getting these properties used, especially over shops now. There's massive space over shops that's being wasted.
We have circulated that through our Facebook pages as well, so if anyone's looking for the link, it's all there.
Good. Thank you, Paul. Anybody else? Or
Yeah, mine was quite a long one, as you probably saw. Just wanted to pick out, obviously there's a lot in there about the budget at county. It's 4.99% that council tax will go up for county. All the rest of the details in there. The library savings have been reversed, but there are still questions over what that actually means. So I've asked Councillor Hunkin to come to the library and meet Australia and library staff. That's happening in a couple of weeks, just so we can have a face-to-face talk about what the next steps are with that, what it means in practice. I just wanted to flag up the work and skills day that we had. Was it last week?
25th
It was actually last week.
No,
Week before.
2 weeks ago.
It was like last week. Yeah, it was really good. I went up there, I think Williams was up there, wasn't he? I thought it was really well received, really well attended. It's really encouraging to see all the councils working together with one of across all the levels of councils. Yeah, we've had already some reports of successes, people finding work there, and there's ongoing discussions and plans to continue that. So, as I'm sure Steve will go into more detail on one of his reports, but I was really encouraged to go to that. Yeah, and again, as Councillor Elliott was saying, just massive thank you to everyone that's pulled together the youth club coming off, because that's another really exciting development thing that came up. Has been much needed, but in many places don't have. So what we want now is sustainability after that first year of funding. Those are my points.
thank you.
Just a quick question, in your report when you're talking about SEO, what's happened with the money from central government that they were sort of writing off a large portion of debt in relation to SEND?
Well, the money's not written off yet, but that is the proposal, is to write off 90% of it. Not being an accountant person, all I can tell you is that there's a lot of interest that won't be paid on that money. That's what gave them a little bit more headroom in the budget at the last minute, but nothing's finalised until Devon County actually, like all councils, have to submit a plan about how they're going to manage the remaining 10%, I believe, and not build up a future deficit. So it's got strings attached, but it should be fulfillable. But I think it's around not paying the interest on a massive amount of money. That just gave them just that tiny bit more headroom at it was very late announcement. And if that helps.
Councillor Pratt.
Thanks, sir. When you say written off, not so much written off, I mean, government is sort of bailing out 90%.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But I happen to know, as do some people in this room, know someone that's very, very involved in this particular area of budget. And the view from the professional review, from the people that are in, at the coalface, as it were, is there is no way, under existing rules, national rules, nothing definitely about it, but there is no way that you'll keep that 10% down. That 10% is going to be right. Not immediately, but it's going to chunker away.
I think it's also linked to the reforms to send as well, which have only just been announced, and we don't know how that will affect. Because a lot of the costs are around the transport
Yeah.
and transporting.
Oh, you can find out about minibuses.
Sorry?
You can find out about why they stopped using minibuses.
Right.
The thing is, the reason I tell you why they're not using minibuses is because parents used to have to take their children to the end of the road or to somewhere for a minibus, and now you've got a taxi that pulls up outside. And with all these things, once you rash it in one direction, if you try and go back the other way, there'll be riots in the streets. That's the problem, but it's too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, things like transport are massively expensive, but the EHC, the changes to the HCPs and all that kind of thing, the idea is that it's supposed to you will start to take the pressure off of some of the costings, but actually it's so new that we don't actually know. We don't actually know.
Good luck.
That's the idea.
Well, think about any more questions for Sarah? Any other reports? No, covered.
No licensing this month, and got governance tomorrow night, so next meeting. Next.
No problem.
Really good, probably voice back, it's been quite good.
Thank you for that. All right, moving on to item 15, reports from working groups and council of champions. Pat is the usual one for this, but not here today.
No. Is there, if anyone's got any questions, I suggest sending an email.
Good enough, the report's been submitted, so that's good. Item 16, to receive correspondence licenses and notices. Anything?
Nothing that I was able to put into the agenda. I will raise correspondence that I have had. I think I've circulated most of it, but I'll raise it as chair's discretion for information only.
Okay. Item 17, policies to be adopted, assets and services transfer.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're going to get quite a lot of policies coming through over the next few months because I'm behind. So, and looking at the list of them, there's probably about 50 to 70 policies that this council seems to have. I'm not sure necessarily all of them are required, but some of them definitely are. And they are quite important. I know sometimes they feel like a tick box exercise, but actually they are something that we can be held accountable to if we don't follow the policy. It just gives structure to things. So the first one that I've just done, this hasn't ever been adopted previously. We've talked about it before, but I think it's quite a prudent one that we need to kind of get through quite soon. It's something that we do anyway. I think we follow this anyway, but it's just to fix it that with any asset and service transfer that we're likely to get or are currently considering getting, that we have the policy in place to make sure that we do tick all the boxes, do the due diligence as per the policy, so that nothing gets missed. So that's the reason I put it through for this month. So obviously, I'm sure you've all read it in great depth, and I'm happy for it to obviously change, as I've got councillor Crab's hand up.
No, I mean, for what it is, it's perfectly fine, I'm happy to propose. One thing, it might be worth just putting in the back of your mind, you know, a lot of this comes with a cost, doesn't it? You know,
Yes.
you can also do. The other thing with Ken Miles the other day, and he said, mind that there are things, like from the example he gave me, Bickersfield is not at risk, no matter whether it's unitary or certain things are prevented. You know, any unitary authority can come and flog it to Wimpey owners. You know, Bickersfield Park will be one, Brimley's will be one. So you might be good reason for taking these on, you might even manage them better. I think sometimes you struggle, but you don't have to take on everything that's expensive because some things they can't flog to Wimpey homes. That's normally our concern. Well, that's the concern that's presented by district, is the fact that if you don't take this stuff off us, Wimpey homes will come and buy it. But they can't come and buy all of it. So just be aware that sort of doesn't affect this, I propose.
Okay. So this specific policy then, I think I heard you propose it.
I think, yeah.
I'll second it, so all in favour? Anyone against? No, abstentions, good. We have a policy,
Thank you.
right, moving on to chair's discretion, which, I think is back to you.
It's
yeah.
back to me again, I'm afraid, yes. I just wanted to raise a couple of bits. I think I have emailed them out to you. First is, unfortunately, it didn't come in on time to put it as, a complete thing. But the museum have sent us the update, so just to give you some overview of where they're at. And just so that everybody understands that, from that, hopefully you kind of gauge that it's not a quick process. This is going to be a long-term invested process, so they're working really hard on it. It is a 3-year process. They're working with North Devon Council's officer, I don't know what. Now complete,
Alison.
Alison, thank you. I couldn't think of what Alison's actual role is. I couldn't think of what Alison's name was there for a second. So, but they are working with Alison Mills from North Devon Council. She's very good with this. And they are dealing with other consultants as well. So, yeah, so that's just for your information. Yes, of course.
So we can assume North Devon will allow them to stay in the old building until.
That I obviously everything I'm sure is a negotiation, but I think they were always given the agreement that they would get the extensions provided they were moving in the right direction.
Right,
If at any point that the museum decide as a board of trustees that they're not going to progress this and decide that they're just going to dig their heels in for whatever reason, which I don't think is the case, having had conversations, is very progressive. They will then, if they did hypothetically do that, I think then that negotiation might then break down. But I think at the moment, the way it's going, they're having regular meetings, we're offering them space here so that they've got a meeting space to hash this out. So it is going in the right direction, so.
Good.
Okay.
Of course, say what you're gonna do with the old building when it's empty.
No, nothing at this stage. It's obviously it can't be because the Environment Agency has condemned it, so it could be potentially storage as long as it's not, you know, human people are not occupying the space, I think. Human people, don't you? Yes, I know. I realise that as well. There's no accounting for brain power anymore.
That's really.
Oh, sorry, hello.
If they weren't successful in their lottery bid, what would happen to the space?
That is a risk and down to North Devon Council. I don't know whether or not that's being considered. I think considering I think they're looking at lottery funding, and I think they're looking at some museums funding of some description. I'm not 100% sure. But I honestly don't know what that scenario is, because that would be down to a North Devon Council position. So I'll ask. But the next one, which I've obviously also circulated to you, is the letter that we got back just for your information from MP Ian Room with regards to connectivity. Everything's in there, so unless anyone has any response they wish me to send back, I think it's pretty succinct, so that's the information. And the last thing which I'm going to highlight to you, before we go into the next section is, with the AGAR this year, we have something called Assertion 10. It's something that's new. It's something that we have 4 boxes that we have to tick as part of the AGAR, and it's all to do with GDPR and compliancy, accessibility, and things along those lines. So we have to, for instance, and luckily Isabel was sending her on great training because she's managed to produce this for me from her training, is that we have to have a council-owned email domain, we have to have an accessible website, we've got to have the correct policies in place in relation to GDPR compliance, and we also have to adopt an IT policy. Now, the IT policy is the one thing we actually don't have. So Steve and I'll be working on that in the next month. We will bring it all back for April, so because we've got time, obviously our year end is March, but that doesn't mean we have to submit our AGAR until June. So we've got time to try and work on this. If for any reason we ticked the boxes to say, no, we couldn't fulfil this based on whatever the criteria is, it would mean we would fail the AGAR, but not from a financial perspective. We would fail the AGAR with but we're working on it to rectify and get right. I don't think we're going to get to that point, but just to pre-warn you, we will bring everything, and there'll be a couple of policies and things that we'll have to just go through and make sure we tick all those boxes. But that's just to let you know. There might be more information that we'll bring back as well, because there might be some IT changes and things we need to consider longer term.
IT expensive.
That's the word we wanted to say.
Hey, Lord, sorry.
Yes.
Just to say, if you do need support with that, even if it's just from an advice perspective, we've helped with loads of organisations and
Thank you,
schools
Sean.
write IT policies. We're quite well versed with GDPR and with that kind of stuff, and also with 365 and things like that, so retention policy and stuff. So yeah, do call and if you just want an ear or something like that.
There we are, not just fences, valleys and trees.
Yeah.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Everything from you?
I think that is pretty much everything, yes.
Yeah, so item 19, just to agree action from this meeting.
They will be part of the minutes.
Excellent. So at this point, I'm going to release the public to, and we're going to move into part B.
You need to vote for it.
Yes. So I'm proposing that we move to part B. I get second there. All right, vote, well, all in favour? Anybody again? No. Good.
Thank you.
Part B.